Let it begin. Now, in the Hegelian system, the state is all-powerful, so we should ask ourselves, what is the state? Well, the state is the elite. The state is the royal, aristocratic hierarchy who are able to maneuver and live their lives in any way that they choose because they are super wealthy. Now, let's just talk about super wealth and super wealthy people. I can tell you now, after meeting quite a few of them, that they are very, very different to you or me. When I'm talking about super wealth, I am not talking about Puff Daddy who has allegedly 3 Bentleys. I'm talking about super wealth, family wealth, which was in the millions back in the 19th century. Now, when we look at this hierarchy of aristocrats and royal families around the world, we can see that they are the state. They are the people that the robots, I call them robots, the civil servants, who run the machinery of the state. It is the civil servants who swear allegiance to this elite. When you join the British Civil Service, you do not swear an oath to serve the British people. You swear an oath to serve the monarch. It's the same when you become a spy. When you join MI5 or MI6 or any of the other DI or MI agencies, and there's many of them run by the British government, you are swearing allegiance to serve the reigning monarch, not the British people. While the American people sing the Star-Spangled Banner, the most powerful people in the USA and Europe salute the ancient symbol of the Brotherhood of Death. In the book, Who's Who of America's Elite, the author has found that the Order of the Skull and Bones encourages its members to intermarry, thus keeping their spectacular wealth all in the family.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for evil and the very worst of human nature. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those who want peace and security in the world and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and the victims of the American economy. Our military is evil, and it's prepared. Our country is evil, deliberate and deadly evil. All that is evil, comforted by evil, and no one will keep that evil from shining. And on behalf of the American power greater than any of us, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their financial institutions and assistance. America and our terrorist friends and allies join with all those who want despicable chaos and terrible evil. And we stand together to win the war against all that is good and just. None of us will ever find those responsible. Thank you. Good night. And God.
Alive! It's alive! Now they will know why they are afraid of the dark. Now they will learn why they fear the night. There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
I want counterculture. I want
America is ready for a new beginning.
The new Prime Minister of India is, no.
Killed many people. For money. Out of ignorance. Out of evil. Out of hatred.
The Skull and Bones was founded using money from opium. Retired Colonel Beau Gritz is a 33rd degree Freemason who interviewed Viet Cong soldiers after the Vietnam War, who told him that George Bush Sr. and Richard Armitage were at the head of an opium trading gang during the Vietnam War. Afghanistan is the world's largest supplier of opium, and since the US invasion in 2002, the growing of opium poppies has reached staggering proportions, with money from the British government being used by opium farmers to plant gigantic fields of poppies. The BBC confirmed in April 2004 that since the invasion and occupation of Afghanistan by British and American forces, poppy production has reached an all-time high. Bonesmen have never had such an ideal opportunity to follow in the footsteps of their forebears and start smuggling opium. The American and British war machines are commanded by men who have all sworn allegiance to the blood-curdling murderous demon gods of the Illuminati. They are sacrificing the lives of your sons and daughters on the altar of the all-seeing eye.
1.7 million people who wear our country's uniform, active, guard, and reserve, comprise the finest military in the history of the world. They stand ready to face down any threat, anytime, anywhere.
In the summer of 2005, I saw a documentary that was broadcast on the BBC. It had been made in Canada by Sarah Goodman and been funded by a Canadian broadcast company. It won Best Documentary. Quite frankly, the people that put this film together deserve more than just a Best Documentary prize. They deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. Because this movie, its original title is Build Me Up, Build Me Down, showed in the aftermath of 9/11 that the Pentagon were basically taking in recruits, basically their children, and brainwashing them in these army camps and turning them into ill-equipped, immature killing machines.
Lopez, stop. Lopez, stop now. Did you say something, Lopez?
Now, at one point in this film, we see a sign saying infantry, and of course infant is a child. And we hear on the soundtrack this whole group of trainees shouting, "I want to kill somebody." How does that fit in with democracy? How is it democratic to use taxpayers' money to train children to shout at the tops of their voices, "I want to kill somebody"? That's not democratic. If they shout, "I want to defend somebody," yes, that's democratic. But "I want to kill somebody," that is demonic. Well, if you want to search for the Antichrist, I suggest you start at the Pentagon. Now, if you look at a satanic pentagram, every Masonic lodge and every church of Satan somewhere in the building has a five-pointed satanic pentagram. And if you look at the satanic pentagram, in the center of the pentagram, you see a pentagon. And the Pentagon building itself is a grandiose piece of occult architecture. And the United States, and indeed many cities around the world, are full of occult buildings. The Pentagon is orientated towards the north. This, traditionally in magic terms, is the point on the compass where the god of war, or the spirits of war, are invoked, at the north point of the compass. If you look at an aerial picture of the Pentagon, you'll see that it's a pentagon, inside a pentagon, inside a pentagon, inside a pentagon. And this is symbolic of the way secret societies set themselves up with an outer circle of members, and then you have the inner circle, and then you have the inner core. Washington, D.C. is a fascinating place to explore once you've learnt the signs and all the symbols of Freemasonry and satanic groups such as the OTO. What Washington, D.C. is fashioned after an Egyptian necropolis. And an Egyptian necropolis in the ancient era of Egypt, the Pharaonic dynasty of Egypt. An Egyptian necropolis is a temple for the dead. And what Washington DC is a modern version of an ancient Egyptian temple for the dead, but this is now a temple of death. And if you want to look for satanic inspired architecture, look no further than the Washington Monument. It's proportioned after the giant obelisks of Egypt, and its height above ground is 555 feet. But it's anchored, obviously, into the ground just over 100 feet deep. The foundation runs 111 feet, about 20% of the height of the overall building above ground. If you add 20% onto 555, you end up with 666. The Washington Monument is 666 feet in totality. The other aspects of Washington DC are typically Masonic. The small roads within the parklands surrounding the White House have been exposed by David Icke and many other authors as making up the shape of an owl, which is the symbol of Bohemian Grove in California, the Bohemian Club. An owl sitting on the top of a pyramid, and of course the pyramid is one of the symbols that was used by the Bavarian Illuminati. And the whole of Washington DC is this modern temple for death. And the death management center is the Pentagon. The Book of Revelation warns of an age of destruction, where planet Earth will be writhing in pain like a mother giving birth. The Book of Revelation prophesies the birth of the Antichrist, who will emerge to wield great political power across the planet. The plan of the Antichrist is very simple: famine, plague, war, total annihilation of all living creatures.